China Coast Guard's monster ship has left Escoda Shoal in the West Philippine Sea, according to a Navy spokesperson. Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, says China Coast Guard ship with hull number 5901 has exited the country's exclusive economic zone, adding that no replacement has been sent for the ship. However, Trinidad does not specify when the ship left the vicinity of the shoal, where the Philippine Coast Guard's BRP Teresa Magbanwa maintains a persistent presence. BRP Teresa Magbanwa was deployed in Escoda Shoal on April 16 following suspected reclamation activities around the shoal. China Coast Guard's gigantic patrol cutter, which is the largest Coast Guard vessel in the world, had been deployed off Escoda Shoal on July 3. Security expert Chester Cabalza previously said Beijing sought to put pressure on Manila through the deployment of its giant ship. Beijing asserts its sovereignty over almost the entire South China Sea, including most of the West Philippine Sea, as it continues to reject a July 2016 arbitral award. The arbitral ruling effectively dismissed China's claims while ruling heavily in favor of the Philippines. The cooperative activities between the Philippines and Vietnam on Pugad Island have resumed, making the first bilateral engagement between both countries in the West Philippine Sea since the COVID-19 pandemic. Navy spokesperson Commander John Percy Alcos says the 7th iteration of the joint activity between the Philippine Navy and the Vietnam People's Navy was held on July 10. According to Alcos, this event is considered another milestone in fostering bilateral cooperation and camaraderie between the two navies. Alcos says the navies of Manila and Hanoi held a staff-to-staff talk on regional maritime security updates as well as proposals for future cooperation. The activity, attended by 60 personnel from navies of both countries, also included friendly games, cultural presentations, and even culinary exchanges. Asked if there is a possibility that the Philippine Navy plans to conduct similar activities with the Chinese Navy, Alcos had a lukewarm response, saying these activities are done with like-minded nations. Pugad Island was previously held by the Philippines but was seized by Vietnam in 1975. Despite this, Manila and Hanoi maintained good relations as both countries face continuous aggression from Beijing. Department of Education spokesperson Undersecretary Michael Poa says he and 4 other officials have resigned. In a message to reporters Tuesday, July 16, Poa explains that they resigned as a courtesy to incoming DepEd Chief Sonny Angara. According to POA, other DepEd officials who quit their posts are Undersecretary for Administration Nolasco Mimpin, Assistant Secretary Sunshine Fajarda, Assistant Secretary for Procurement Reynold Monsayak, and Assistant Secretary for Administration Noel Baluyan. Angara revealed earlier Tuesday that POA informed him that he was leaving. Angara will resume his post as Education Secretary starting July 19 after Vice President Sara Duterte quit the Marcos administration cabinet nearly a month ago. Senator Gatchalian is seeking the help of police after receiving threats to his life, supposedly for his active participation in the Senate probe into illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators. In a letter to Pasay City Police Substation Commander Police Major Benjamin Mandane, Gatchalian says he was informed by his staff about a video circulating online containing explicit threats directed at his personal safety and well-being. Based on the transcript of the video attached to the letter, suspended Bamban Mayor Alice Guo allegedly paid her men 10 million pesos to silence Gatchalian and Senator Risa Ontiveros. According to Gatchalian, the creation and online dissemination of the video has caused him concern for his security and that of his family and staff. Guo is currently the subject of a Senate probe over her alleged ties to illegal pogos. The suspended mayor is now ordered arrested by the Senate for her repeated failure to attend its hearings. Ontiveros has been leading the probe as head of the Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality. INQUIRER.net has sought the comment of Guo through her lawyer Stephen David. Philippine offshore gaming operators are still not considered as a national security threat, according to a National Security Council official. At the Senate Committee on Ways and Means hearing on the Anti-Online Gambling Act, Senator Gatchalian asked the NSC what is taking so long to declare pogos as a national security threat.
For me, it's already all the fingerprints of a national security threat is already there. Especially the hacking expert that we discovered. In my mind, ano pa inaantay natin? What are we still waiting for to elevate it into a national security threat?
In response, NSC Assistant Director General Francis Jude Lawenco says that while pogos are considered a national security concern, the government's initiatives in terms of addressing problems surrounding pogos are still satisfactory.
Right now, the issue is handled pretty well, or we are satisfied with how this is being handled by the law enforcement and regulatory agencies. But I am taking the from the statement of the National Security Advisor when he mentioned that the response to this does not yet have to include the drastic responses, for example, involving the AFP in addressing national security threats.
However, Lowenko says the NSC supports the passage of laws that would criminalize illegal pogos and totally ban illicit offshore gaming and internet gaming licensees in the country.
We have seen the extent of criminal activities being conducted in some of the IGLs and Pogo facilities, particularly human trafficking, cyber fraud, prostitution, etc., which to us has become a very serious national concern that are now being addressed by the appropriate law enforcement agencies.
Earlier, the Senate panel on women, children, family relations, and gender equality, headed by Senator Risa Ontiveros, urged the NSC to raise before President Bongbong Marcos that pogos are a threat to national security. Ontiveros said she raised the matter during an executive session at the Senate, attended by the top officials from regulatory and law enforcement agencies that had been investigating pogos. Senators want a crackdown on those behind the proliferation of fake birth certificates in the country. In a message to reporters, Senate President Escoda says the case involving 1,200 falsified birth certificates could just be the tip of the iceberg. Escoda believes suspended Bamban Mayor Alice Guo was not the first and will certainly not be the last to fake a birth certificate. Guo's identity has been scrutinized in the Senate after she was linked to illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators. A Senate probe revealed she was already 19 years old when she registered her birth. Senator Gatchalian, who has been calling for the permanent ban of pogos, agrees with Escoda. He believes the local registry in the Davao del Sur town of Santa Cruz should be held accountable for these falsified birth documents. For Senator Risa Ontiveros, the discovery of thousands of fake identities is a threat to public order and national security. She cites recent investigations in Congress which revealed that criminal groups use fake Filipino citizenships to carry out their illicit activities. As head of the Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, Ontiveros has been leading the probe into criminal activities tied to pogos. Meanwhile, Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel is alarmed by the proliferation of birth certificates in the country. Reports revealed the number of falsified birth certificates found in Davao del Sur alone has grown to 1,200 from only around 200.